Hello and welcome to a video where I will tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming Tier 8 American heavy premium tank, the T26E5 Patriot, that will be available soon in a premium shop near you. After the Liberté, this is the second premium tank in a row that puts many of its colleagues to shame. However, this vehicle plays on different strengths than the Frenchie. The gun is something you would expect on a medium tank with its meager 240 alpha, but a very interesting standard APCR round with 230mm of penetration. If this is not enough, you can load the premium rounds, which are also APCR with respectable 259mm of penetration. In terms of handling and accuracy, this is your standard American middle tier gun. It's a fairly inaccurate 90mm at 0.38, has a fairly average aiming time of 2.3 seconds, and the bloom stats don't really help it much. You need to sit still for a significant amount of time to let the reticle settle, which can be a bit annoying. However, the most impressive stat about this vehicle's armament is its insane damage per minute values. This tank sports 2000 DPM base, which is exactly the same as the IS-6 or the IS-3A. These vehicles have higher alpha but worse penetration and handling. This great DPM and high velocity ammunition choices means your combat effectiveness is very solid even when fighting at high range, which is not something you can say about many American tanks. The T26E5 is reasonably good at playing the spotting role with 390 meters of standard view range. With just optics, you will bring the view range to 430 meters, and a decent crew on top of that will bring it to well over 450 meters, which is very respectable. You won't exactly be able to abuse bushes with your 7% of stationary camo, but at least it is not even 100 levels. Mobility wise, it's good for a heavy tank, but pretty poor if you treat it as a medium one. The maximal speed of 40 km an hour is very limiting, even though the 15 horsepower per ton lets you maintain it on flat ground very easily, but you aren't going to be beating enemies to forward positions anytime soon with the E5. With armor, it is the other way around. Impressive for a medium tank, but not the best compared to other heavies. The hull armor is slightly better than that of the standard American heavy T32, at around 190mm effective on the upper frontal plate and 200mm on the lower frontal plate, which is more than enough to stop low-tiered guns or the infamous 122mm D25, which is mounted on around half the Russian tanks in this game. But it won't protect you against most of the guns heavies and tank destroyers mount on this tier, even with angling, due to the bad side armor of 76mm. Overall, the hull armor is decent but not very reliable. The turret, however, is quite insane if this were a medium tank. The mantlet is your good old 300mm effective plate, and the majority of the cheeks are either at an out-of-bounds angle or have an effective of around 250mm, which is enough to stop most guns. Though there is a zone close to the mantlet where you can find around 220 effective, and that area increases when this tank turns his turret away from you, which means that you can't effectively tank shots from multiple angles at once like the T32 can afford to. If you don't see sides of the turret, you can try and shoot the cupola, but this one is pretty small and also reasonably strong. It has 150mm of nominal armor and is rounded as hell, so you can easily find zones that tier 10 TDs will have trouble panning. It is easy to pen if you hit it dead on with around 230mm of penetration, however. Also, 10 degrees of gun depression means that you can effectively hide all your turret weak spots, which is very strong. And if you do get panned, don't you worry, 1500 hit points will keep you alive for quite long. As with all premiums, crew is important. This vehicle is manned by 5 guys, which means that you will have to find an extra radio man if you plan on using a crew from the high tiered American heavies, and some of the perks then might not work, so keep a watch on that. The Patriot earns a reasonable amount of credits as well. You will be breaking the 100k on good games with premium if you are not a gold noob like myself. Overall, this vehicle is a very interesting medium heavy tank hybrid. If I were to sum it up, I would say that this is what would happen if a T32 and a Pershing had a baby. Reasonably strong armor, while not sacrificing too much of its mobility, means that you are very versatile in many situations. Tier 10 games obviously are a pain, but your armor can sometimes save you even against the strongest of opponents, which is nice. And that's about it for today. Big thanks to Wargaming for letting me try this vehicle before it went live. If you enjoyed watching, feel free to like the video, subscribe for more, or even leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and arrivederci amici!